we'll dive into a Sunday night game because it should be fun. Like if the Lions do play to their full extent, like, and I still think they will, regardless of what their playoff outlook is by the time the game starts. It should be a fun game. The Packers, we're here again. The Packers are interesting because like the offense has been fine, right? It's been like efficient, but not in like a flashy way, really. They're doing some small stuff. Like Rodgers is still trying to throw bombs when like you really probably shouldn't. Sometimes the run game works, sometimes it doesn't. Kind of depends on how involved Aaron Jones is, and he's been kind of up and down with injuries and involvement over the past couple weeks. The defense last week, they came alive a little bit, and I'm not sure if they were just so focused.
They did what we said, what they never do.
Right. And
are they going to alter? Are they going to adapt?
Yeah. So that's kind of my question heading into this game is, were they just so hyper focused on the Vikings where they said, we need to jam Justin Jefferson at the line every single chance we get, because they have done not a lot of that. But when you look at, and I put some clips in 1st and 10, like, and whoever Justin Jefferson was lined up against, like those guys, and it wasn't just like a jam. They weren't just playing press. Like they were full on, they were like run blocking Justin Jefferson. Like that is the type of contact they were trying to get Jefferson off the line, just kind of disrupt absolutely everything he was doing. And obviously it worked. We were playing a lot of, like cloud coverage over to his side. There was going to be a safety over the top, no matter where he was on the field, where he was lined up, whether that was a slider outside, there was going to be a safety over the top looking. But one of the other things is over the past, I think 4 weeks, 3 of Green Bay's top 4 games in, playing cover 6 has been in the past couple weeks. So there has been a little bit of a shift in like what they have been doing. So if you kind of look at, some of the Fangio stuff and some of the, adapting they've done, there has been a little bit. It hasn't been, quite as successful. The defense isn't playing well, but I think we saw signs of it there against the Vikings. But that is my question of, was this just so hyper-focused on, we need to win this game against the Vikings? They have this very singular player that we need to scheme for. And if we don't, he's going to run all over us. The Lions
Which also shows that what that offense has outside of him too.
Right. Yeah. So there were
Jefferson
some...
just ain't doing a lot of lifting. Vikings ain't looking so hot.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was tough because like even with so much for Jefferson, it like there wasn't really the Thielen stuff wasn't happening. They were still fairly good at covering TJ Hawkinson, who has been their second guy since he came over from the trade. It was not a good look for the Vikings. But what is interesting is the Lions don't necessarily have that guy, right? Like Amon-Ra St. Brown is great, but he's not going to beat you in the same ways that Justin Jefferson does. And it's not going to like need the same type of defense. And Justin Jefferson is like, he's going to get open because like he's really good. St. Brown is going to do that also, obviously in a different way, but Detroit is so good at taking advantage of space and scheming things open. So I am very interested in what that dynamic is going to be, because these are 2 very different offenses that the Packers will be facing. And I think you still have, Detroit's doing some fun things. They had the end around to, or the reverse to Jameson Williams that went to 40. So they're starting to incorporate some other elements there. You had Jamal Williams not just running like at the goal line, had 140 yards on the ground. So they're still incorporating
the Bears will
some
do that.
Fun stuff.
The Bears will let you do that.
It's also true. Yeah, but like the Packers can also, right? So
it's true.
Like there's there is a place where like some of that running in and play action, it could potentially be a concern. So, um, yeah, very interested to see like what the Packers do here on defense, whether they have figured out some way to at least adapt, and not just run like the same stuff that they've been doing. Like obviously, you're not going to defend the Lions the same way you did the Vikings, but if you're just doing something different, that'll probably help. And if they're not, I'm not sure. It's going to be hard, I think, to stop the Lions offense, and
Yeah,
kind of puts
it's
the Packers in the
interesting.
same place they have been.
Well, I mean, we could be setting up another Packers 49ers first round playoff game too. We know how those have gone in recent years. That's like the outcome on the other side if they get through this, right? And it's
Yeah,
interesting too this game because you have obviously the Goff like setup here. Goff didn't play well when these teams played earlier in the year. The Packers didn't play well when they played, but like they moved the football up and down the field. They averaged almost 6 yards per play, and they just had bad red zone turnovers. Like this was the game Rodgers threw 2 red zone interceptions. The
yeah,
first Hutchinson interception of the season, which was like a pass to David Bakhtiari. We pull that one out at the right time.
right.
But like the Packers moved the ball up and down the field in that game. They had 3 turnovers that kind of shot themselves in the foot. And that's what it all comes down to here. Like as we've talked to this Lions team over the course of the season, is like their defense just isn't any good. And I expect the Packers to move the football here. And the Packers play like this ultimate bend but don't break defense. Like the defense looks terrible for a couple drives, and they look awesome for a few drives. And I expect we'll see much of the same here in this game. So I still think the Packers have an edge here just because the worst unit on the field is the Detroit defense, and they just haven't stopped enough people this year.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And like they've run into a couple splash plays over the past couple weeks, and that's kind of
They
what
can
has helped
rush the
them
passer.
on
That's like the
defense.
one good
Yeah,
thing they do. But
yeah, yeah. Aiden Hutchinson's been all right. Not consistently great, but does have those splash plays.
good counting stats.
James Houston is the most efficient pass rush specialist in the league. He's been a lot of fun. Like when he's on the field, he's like going to get a sack, which has been fun to see because like they also haven't been fluky. Like he's like legitimately like it can put some moves on and get to the quarterback, which is fun. But yeah, the secondary is still not great. Jeff Okudah has been up and down. Jerry Jacobs has played well, but again, it's just like it's a lot of pieces that just haven't really kind of meshed all that well together.
Yeah, when these teams
And
played
they're
earlier
still
in the year, the Packers had 390 total yards of offense. It's the 5th most they've had in a game all year, and only had 9 points, which is the second fewest points they score all year. If they push for 400 yards again, I guarantee you they're going to have more than 9 points on Sunday night.
yeah, that probably is going to be the case. So there we go. So just to kind of run it down, Packers win and they're in.
Mm-hmm.
I think with a Packers loss and a Seahawks win, the Seahawks are in. With the Packers and Seahawks loss, I think the Lions are in. There's a lot going on here. So we're going to get
And we'll
with
know what
this.
the Seahawks did already.
Yeah, with the Seahawks playing earlier, they're playing the Rams. Kind of should expect them to win. I think.
Hey, Baker's had a couple moments.
Yeah, like if it does, it's been fun where like McVay has kind of just dusted off the Goff playbook, and like it can still win that way. So obviously not last week where the Chargers just ran up on them, but yeah, it'll.
He should
I
stay
would
there.
say, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but probably a
No one's signing him to
backup
be a
spot.
starter though, right? Like maybe in a competition, but no one's signing him to be a starter, right?
I don't know, man. We're gonna get like Sam Darnold should be a starter. Like someone is writing
No.
that.
Well,
Like
there's gonna be
who knows? Like
a lot of competitions this year, man. It's wide open again. We're gonna get a lot of QB rollover again this year.
yeah, it does kind of appear that way.